This is Casper de Nora, and you're watching the Chat with Chaps live show.
Good evening and welcome to the Chat with Chaps live show. I'm your host, Joe Zampa, and together we've got a fantastic show with our panelists. First of all, what do you think of our nice new layout there, eh? Big shout out to our Spectrum VR sponsor for the season. Hope you boys are doing good. Make sure you check those guys out. And also, please make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. As you know, all the money we make for this channel goes to Cancer Research UK. So you can do your bit by liking and subscribing to the channel. So thanks very much for doing that. First of all, welcome to my co-host, the one and only Danish destroyer, Jesper Damgaard. How you doing, Jesper? You good?
Yeah, very good.
You, done it. That does tickle
I know, yeah. It's because you wrote in the caption, actually, the Great Dane. So I thought you went with a new one today, but that's all right. No, I'm very good, Joe. Thanks for having me. And yeah, buzzing about yesterday. Didn't think we'd actually win, but very, very pleased.
Brilliant. Good stuff. Thanks for being on. And also Northern correspondent, the one and only Benjamin Green. How you doing, Ben? You good?
Yeah, all good. Thanks, mate. All good. Buzzing after last night.
Good stuff. Excellent. Good to see you on this evening. And back by public demand, the one and only Rebecca Main, aka Bex. How you doing, Bex? You good?
Yeah, no, I'm really good. Yeah, it's lovely to be back, and I think like everybody, proper buzzing after yesterday, floating. So it's great.
Yeah,
great to be back.
Absolutely. We're just saying, guys, off there, what a difference it makes when you get a decent win. Like, if you lose a game, you're on suicidal watching as you're going home. I go with my son, and we often don't talk to each other for the first 15 minutes. Then we say he was a CUNT, he was shit, he was that. Like, it just gets really depressing from there onwards. So a win makes all the difference. But look, let's say hello to our lovely listeners. So first through the door is one and only Carl Bracey. Hey, hope you're well, Carl. Hope you're good. Alex, good to see you, mate. Hope you're well. Good evening, Wall Lion. Friend of the show, Jeff. How are you, Jeff? Hope you're good. Anthony Smith. Ballo's quality is absolutely we'll touch on a little bit later. And again, one and only John, mate, that's so generous of you. Off to Spain, waiting to board, are you? So you on the on the gate, are you? Gate 7 or something, what it is, leaving the old EasyJet. Hope you're well, mate, and good to have you with us. Tom, good to see you. Hope you're well. Hughesy, hope you're well, mate. Hope everything's okay with yourself. Chris Brown, hope you're good, mate. David, hello, how are you? Big E is in the house. Hello, lady and gents. Yep, that's right, get it right. Lee, how are you, mate? Evening, hope you're good. Good performance from the Lionesses. Evening, Andrew. Line in waiting, evening all. Good evening, John. Hope you're good. Evening, Jeff. Hope you're well, mate. Ben DeLever, good to see you. Googies. Morning from California. Bloody hell, well done, mate. Cheers for being with us. Dan, hope you're well, mate. Max, good to see you. Lots of new names on here, so we've got some new listeners. Good to see you. Borg, good to see you, mate. Ben, hello. George, hope you're well, mate. The Awful Gambler, good to see you. Lions Raw, hope you're well. Andy, oh my God, there's loads coming through the chat at the moment. Good to see you, Scott. Hassan, hope you're well, mate. Hope you're good. Neo Quest, Mark Murphy, Mick, Milrick, hope you're well, mate. And Bobby T in the house. Good to see you, mate. Ergen. Wow, look, there you go. Sean, good stuff. I think we kind of got there. I thought we're about half an hour in now, but listen, good to see you guys. Stephen Jones, better late than never, mate. Good to see you on there. Flybo, Lions waiting. Kane, wow, God, there's 116 of you in the chat already. It's incredible. Thank you very, very much for being with us. Cheers, guys, for being with us. Right, first of all, guys, yesterday, fantastic performance. Bit of a statement win, though, Jesper, if you ask me. I mean, Mill 2, Stoke 0. Who would have thought, playing a team that's third in the league, only considered 6 goals up until yesterday. And we looked by far the better side, didn't we, Jesper?
Yeah, I think we performed very, very well, throughout the 90 minutes. I think there was a spell of maybe 15 minutes in the second half, beginning of second half, where they came out and, tried to get an early goal to get back in it. Otherwise, I thought we were in complete control. And I think it was just, another step in the right direction. I mentioned to Chris the other day, I don't think we looked the finished article, but I think we're definitely heading in the right direction, and 3 wins on the spin tells you that. So yeah, very pleased. And I was a bit worried after the QPR game because it was a tough game. How would we prepare mentally for this one? Who would start, and how would we be physically? But I thought we looked top fit, and I think we fully deserved the win. So yeah, very pleasing, and just makes it even more exciting going into Saturday now.
Absolutely. Cheers for that, Jesper. And coming to your next, Bex, obviously we will dissect player performances individually, of course, a lot sort of discussed later. But generally, what was your thoughts on yesterday's performance? And was you happy with the result?
Do you know what? I come away and I just thought we played phenomenal, to be honest with you. It was like watching a completely different team. Obviously, the first 10 minutes did start off a bit slow and a bit rocky for us. And I sat there and thought, oh, God, here we go. Going to be that game again against Stoke that we've had in the past, and something just clicked, and then that was it, and we just went into it. And I just think we just built and I don't know, I just come away just thinking, who is this team that we've just watched? Like, this isn't a team that we've seen throughout the season. What's happened? And actually, I thought we actually looked like a team that we could serious as. People could look at us now and go, actually, do you know what, Millwall are actually in the thick of it and in the run of it, and it's time to take note and kind of watch what we're doing. So yeah, I come away, I was just buzzing.
Absolutely. And Ben, obviously, I'm sure you watched it on a screen on a TV. I mean, it was a great performance. As Beck says, it's, you look at that team, you think, is that really us? Like, we look far superior, I think, in lots of areas of the pitch. We look very dominant at times, and we did look the better team. We looked very, very, very effective. Did it look as good for you watching that from the comfort of your front room?
Absolutely, mate. For me, best performance of the season by a country mile. Best 45 minutes I've seen in a very, very long time. Some of the passages of play that we actually put together were as good as I've ever seen. Being totally honest, I thought football was just excellent at times. Easy to say now that the game is finished, but I never really felt under threat from Stoke. All of their chances were sort of, they didn't really create anything massively clear cut. I think we were just dominant all over the pitch, weren't we? Like Jesper said, they had 10, 15 minutes in the second half, which you'd expect. Mark Robbins obviously got stuck into him at half time, but again, it wasn't like they were battering on the door, was it? They were sort of not even half chances that they were creating. So yeah, I was chuffed, mate. Said to my dad today, as I just said, best 45 I've seen this in the first half, and best performance of the season by an absolute country mile. So yeah, buzzing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Couldn't agree with what you guys said. Fantastic. I'm going to dissect a little bit. We will touch on the game again yesterday, but very, very quickly. Do you remember when we discussed, spoke about Joe and Jad, the two Millwall fans that are doing the bike ride to raise money for charity, for HIS, Help Information Support? Well, a bit of good news for you. If I just show you the screen here. There you go. They did it. Despite us thinking they probably wouldn't. Well, but yeah, fair play to them. They cycle all the way from Millwall to Paris, and they absolutely smashed it. And they managed to raise over £2,000. Their target was £1,000, so they actually raised £2,000. So fantastic for them to double their target. And congratulations to Joe and Jad, and on behalf of us and all the Millwall supporters, thanks very much for what you've done there, mate, and well done, lads, and good luck with your recovery. I'm sure those beers and those Chinese next 2 weeks will go down tremendously well. Thank you also to Peter Hamilton. Chris wants to pass on his thanks for your £20 kind donation as well to charity. So thank you, Peter, if you're listening, and really do appreciate that. I'm going to come back to yourself, Bex, with regards to obviously the performances. I mean, a lot was mentioned yesterday about our wingers and the attacking prowess and the creativity, but one thing that needs to kind of be mentioned and brought up was our defensive display. I mean, Max Crocombe started getting goal. Look, pretty swords, saved it back there. Ryan Leonard at the back, along with Tristan Kramer. Steady on. Jake Cooper. And Zach Surge. What did you make of our back line there and the sort of resilience, if you like, to keep Stoke out, keep them at bay?
They were do you know what, they were like brilliant. They seem to really be gelling, I think, at the minute. And you know what, I'm not gonna lie, like I kind of just thought with Bender, I was very much one of them. Do you know what? Just leave it as it is, because we had so many changes, and we'd only seen Max obviously in the league or the cup games. So I was very much like, oh, I don't really know. But you know what? He's completely proven that he has every right to be in that goal. Scares me a little bit with his confidence. Like he's like his ability and his confidence to go, do you know what? I'm just going to leave it, whatever. Like it's going to go. But I think with that though, the back four actually have huge confidence in him themselves. You can see how much more trust they have to be able to leave balls and let him get on with it. I think Jake and Tristan, I don't know, they are becoming just like a bit of a threat to be recognised with. I think they're putting themselves out there, and Lenny on the right as well. Take no prisoners, and I love that about him. I love the fact that he will just let people know that he's there. He does get forward, and sometimes he does struggle to get back. But then you've got Tristan, you've got Jake there to kind of take that little bit of flack. But he doesn't worry about taking that tackle. And then obviously you've got Zach as well. And I think he's definitely proven himself in that position. You could see he was getting that little bit tired come towards the end, and obviously he got his book in, and then that tactical change was made to bring Joe on, which I think was a really good choice at that point in time. And again, when Joe was brought on, you could see that ability to read that game that little bit more, that maturity in the game. So it was a good choice to bring on. But I don't know, I think that they are kind of going, do you know what, you're not getting past us, guys. We're here, and if you want to get past us, you've got to really do something special to get there, because they're just there, and they're just pushing forward as well. So I'm loving watching them. I think, like, if I go back to obviously when I done my thing with Chris, and I was like, actually, I'll put this person. Yeah. And actually, they're just proving that they should be there. And Jake, I think, he's pulled his finger out and gone, do you know what? I'm captain, and I'm going to prove why I'm captain. And he's showing us all that now. I think we had so much, I think, little faith in him, but now I think he's actually kind of standing up and saying, no, come on, I'm the captain, and this is why it should be. And I just think, like I said, Tristan and Jake together are just really proving that they're a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, brilliant. Fantastic. Cheers to that, Bex. That's why you're on, Bex, you see. Fantastic. Ben, coming to yourself next. Obviously, Bex touched on the back four, back five, if you include Max as well, but also the partnership between Cooper and Tristan, which is, for me, aerially, I think they were absolutely fantastic. They battled yesterday. I think we saw a different side of Cooper as well. We saw him sort of take that leadership role as a captain. Okay, yes, he's probably not the most vocal of centre backs, but he's commanding. Defensively, I think he's resilient. And what I really loved as well, I don't know if you saw that on TV, Ben, where there was an incident where I think it was when Smallbone went down injured, and they decided to carry on playing. And then there was a bit of afters and a bit of a kickoff, you like, on the side. And it was Ryan Leonard that kind of pushed what's his face? I forget his name now, the ex-Huddersfield winger who they signed. He gives him a push, and Jake Cooper's that's it. And Jake Cooper straight in there, shoving him, and it all kind of kicked off. We haven't had that kind of togetherness, have we, with the Millwall boys when they're actually there fighting for each other and backing each other. And it's just so nice to see that the two old guards, it was Leonard and Cooper, that were first straight in there, and everyone else kind of piled in and joined in there as well. What do you make of that kind of defensive display and that kind of togetherness with the squad at the moment?
Yeah, the defensive display was excellent. I don't know when Coops is going to get the credit he deserves, because I know at times we question his athleticism, but as an actual defender, he's superb. And even last night, it felt like he'd actually got some confidence back in his game. He was knocking balls into midfield, sort of splitting the lines a couple of times, getting it into Casper quickly. You didn't see too many of his diagonal balls. No, I didn't, Stephen. Yeah, Coops was just excellent. Tristan, rightly so, gets all the plaudits because he's just superb. Took his goal unbelievably well, by the way, left-footed. The whole defensive unit. Someone we haven't mentioned at all there, Zach Sturridge. I mean, he's just Beck said it the other week. He's just come in, slotted in. I think it was on your show with Chris Beck, and we were sort of talking about Sturridge coming in, and he's been so good. And I like Joe Bryan, I really do. But how does he get back in front of Sturridge now? Because he's just he's so athletic. He's good on the ball. He doesn't look out of place physically. That whole unit. And again, credit to Lenny as well, because there was times over the last few weeks where we've probably gone, is it time for Lenny to move on? We definitely need a right back. And then he just puts in a couple of good displays and he's excellent. And just to finish, how the fuck has Max Crocombe been playing in League One for Burton? I do not understand, because he's such a good keeper. Genuinely, I don't get it. And for me, there's no question now. I've seen enough of him in 2 games to fill me with confidence. I'm complete opposite to Beck. I love his confidence because it fills me with confidence. And for me, he's number 1 now. He's a really good shot stopper. He's so much better with the ball at his feet than anyone else we've got. And the players clearly like him. He was a bit not dodgy last night from crosses, but there was a couple that he sort of didn't fumble again, but he just didn't catch cleanly. But he fills me with so much confidence. He's a big fella. I think he's 6'4" as well. But he just, I love him. I really do. I really do love him.
Yeah. Can I just also say as well, like actually he's kicking skills out to the players. Actually, he actually kind of kicks it with intent, and it goes where he's actually intending to go.
Very much so, yeah.
Really like that. Normally, it's like shove it up the pitch, but this is like, no, I'm going to actually put it out to the right or to the left, and it's going to go to somebody without going off the pitch.
Yeah, I think that's that kind of air of confidence, isn't it, Jesper? Yeah, with Max, where it can be seen as being quite sort of laid back and quite sort of casual a bit, but really he's confident in his ability, he's confident in his all round sort of goalkeeping sort of play, and I think a lot of that helps with the back 4 in front of him, and vice versa, doesn't it? Oh,
that was for me. Sorry.
Yes.
Okay. No. I mean, you've
been up all night with the baby, have you again?
No, it just I don't know. It disconnected for 1 second. I didn't hear if you said Beck or Jesper, so sorry about that. No, I thought he had a great start against QPR. He grew into the game, and I think he had a good save after 30 seconds, and I think already there that helped him. Settle in the defense also. All right, there's a guy we can trust, and as Ben said, he's a big unit, and he can look a bit, I wouldn't say laid back, but he just, when he breathes confidence, it gives confidence to the defense as well, that he knows what he's doing. And so far, he's just performed very well. So I think it's his shirt to lose now. I definitely think, even when Bender is fit again, I don't think he will be back in goal. I think Crocombe should definitely stay because he's done nothing wrong. And when he's been called into action again yesterday, great header. He gets down very well, parries it out, and did what he's paid to do. So I think he's done really well, and it can be difficult, having been out for a long time and then suddenly you being brought in as a number 1 keeper and having to perform immediately. But he's done superb, and full credit to him. Absolutely.
Brilliant. Cool. Excellent. Cheers for that, Jesper. That comment there from Floki, considering a lot of empty seats and quite a few tourists, I thought the fans really played their part yesterday. We've got to touch on that, actually. It's a good point. So I left it on the screen. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But just my point. Like I said, I thought the back 4, 5 were fantastic. I love the captaincy from Cooper. There's small things, like even towards the end of the first half when they were down to 10 players, when their player went off, their fullback went off, and there was a moment when the ball got passed to Max Crocombe. Have you noticed that he was trying to run the game out a little bit, and Cooper's one, no, give me the ball, because he can see we had a player advantage, and he wanted to go and get another goal and score 3-0 before half time. And just the way he is, just his leadership, the way he is, no nonsense. He's battling, and there's fans that will say, oh, should he be in, should he not be in? But I just think yesterday again. If you're watching that game, you highlight Jake Cooper's performance. It just shows you time and time again the reason why that man is our captain and why he's picked in the first 11 every week. Moving up the pitch now a little bit, and we're going to go start with yourself now, Ben. We've done our goalkeeper, we've done our defence. We want to talk about midfielders, and again, very disappointing news about Masva. We will talk about that a little bit later when we discuss the injuries. But out of the wilderness came. Masu Sako, aka Del Boy. He wasn't even in the squad the last game, and he comes in, starts alongside Casper Gnaur, And together, they for 80 minutes at least till Casper went off, they were absolutely fantastic, weren't they, Ben?
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Casper, I thought was excellent Saturday, obviously against QPR, and I was worried when he went off. I know they obviously were trying to manage his minutes, but he looked like he went off with a little bit of a limp. So first of all, I was really pleased to see him starting. He was excellent. Derek, I mean, credit to him. We've spoken about him coming over, not speaking English, got chucked in the deep end against Palace, all that sort of thing. So we've spoken about that before. But again, like you said there, mate, was out of the side, was out of the squad, didn't play any part, has come in, started, and has been excellent again. Talk about his attributes. He's big, he's athletic, he's decent on the ball. The only thing I will say is I want him to be
speak English.
Yeah, that.
May we.
To be fair, it's only because we were doing so well, we were so on top. Towards the end of the game, we'd broken the ball up, won it, driven 20 or 30 yards, and then he was trying so hard to impress. He was obviously trying to get a shot away or get a cross in. And I kept going, if he just kept it simple there, just then rolls it to Femi or rolls it to Barrow, he's going to be such a better. By no means am I knocking him. This is me nitpicking to the 100th degree, right?
Yeah, of course.
He was so good, and he won it, driven like towards the box, and then his final ball let him down because he was just trying to do a bit too much. And it's just like when you get to that point, give it to the players who are better than you or are creative players. But yeah, the midfield too, mate, were brilliant. They just ran the game.
Excellent. Cheers for that, Ben. I come to yourself next, Jesper. What would you make of Del Boy and of course Casper, who's not 100% fit, but obviously he started yesterday, and I think both of them were fantastic and hot in the midfield, weren't they?
Yeah, I think I can only echo what Ben just said. I think they were excellent. They look like a pair who played together for a long time, but they haven't. And in general, that's a very positive thing. You know, we had Luongo Mitchell starting the last game. Then you get Del Boy and Casper in this game, and you think, oh, is this going to upset anything? I know Luongo only played 11 minutes, and Casper came in last game, but it's just very positive that we can sort of chop and change, and it doesn't really affect our rhythm in any sort of way. And if anything, I thought we played better yesterday. So no, I thought they were very good. Very impressed with Derek as well. We spoke about it when he signed. Was he a project? Was he one for the future? I said personally, I'm not going to polish my glory, but I said no. He's a short-term project. We will see him play this season, and he has played. And I think he's proven why we brought him into play now. So no, very, very good performance, and I think he will only get better once he settles in. Once he starts to understand a bit of what Alex says, then it can only be, it can only improve. I guess. So all in all, very, very good performance, and Casper, who came back from injury as well, is not 100% fit. So. As I said from at the beginning of the show, I think we are a team in progress, and we are far from the finished article. I think it's only an upwards trajectory from here on, and especially from a certain bunch of players, including Del Boy and Casper.
Yeah, good stuff. Cheers for that, Jesper. And then coming back to yourself there, Bex. I mean, obviously Del Boy, £500,000. I think we paid for him. Seems like a real snip now. What a mature display for such a young lad. And again. Casper De Noor, how class was he? And again, not 100% fit, but yet he was still very pivotal in our performance yesterday. I think you probably noticed it more when he went off at 80 minutes. We kind of lost our way a little bit since then. But again, what great partnership we had there yesterday.
Yeah. I think that, like the other guys said, like the fact that they hadn't really played together too much and the minutes haven't really been there, and they kind of just been thrown in. Didn't really look like it. It looked like they'd been playing together like for at least a full season. Casper, you could see coming towards the end, he was tiring a little bit. You could see that, but actually from the minute he come on the pitch, he was just giving his all. And obviously, like he nearly opened the game as well with that goal as well that he was just like slightly off with. And that kind of excited me a little bit. I was like, oh my God, Casper's back. He's coming back into the game. But what I love about Casper is that he is just there on the pitch. You can really forget that he's there because he's just like that middle man that he just like links everything up. He just does the job. And it's not in a horrible way that I'm going, I've forgotten about him. It's just because he gets the ball, does what he needs to do, passes it on. He's just there like to play. And it's just been really nice to see him back on the pitch and to be doing what he was doing. So that was my worry, that he'd been off for this time, and it was like, you're going to get that same player, but he's got that fight and more. You can see he's wanting to get to the end. You can see he's wanting to get to the full 90 minutes and complete it. And then obviously like Derek, Del Boy, whatever you want to call
Del
him
Boy.
these days, he just really impressed with his ability. And like you said, he's young. He was a bit of a bargain. Like he's
Yeah,
going to go on, and he's going to probably go on, and he is going to make us a bit of money at some point.
yeah.
But he again was just proving why he should be in the team. And as Jesper said, he's not that finished article yet. But when he is that finished article, like you can kind of see it. You can see it coming through. You can see what's to come and that ability that he's got. And to be thrown in and not speak English and not really know what's going on in the game, just to get on and do it, I think, he's going to be amazing. And I think Billy actually will probably have a little bit of a fight on his hands once he's back. I know he's only been off ill, but I think they've kind of proved themselves to some extent that actually they've got every right to be in the team. So it's interesting that we've got all these players that we can put in, but it's like, who are we going to get? It's like kind of exciting going, who are we going to get today?
I know. Well, what a great problem to have, right? I mean, you feel that if Massa Luongo is still fit at the moment, you'd be happy him starting, you'd be happy Billy starting, or it'd be Del Boy starting, Casper. We've got such great depth now in our squad, which is such a great problem to have. And you're absolutely spot on there with Del Boy. I mean, he's certainly someone who we got from the old bargain basement, didn't we? He's like when you walk into Lidl's and you go into that section there, you're in the middle row, you've got all these little bargains in there. You've got your hedge trimmers and you've got your Hoover and all that. Next minute, you've got a Masusaka in there. Oh, I'll have one of those 500 grand, you know. And
so I was going to say, so he was at the Middlesbrough game. I remember me and my mum, we were sitting, and she was like, because where we sit in like East Lower, and it was like, do you think that guy up there is like our new buy that's going to be like?
That's right, I remember that.
There's photographs he was wearing a bright blue top, and we was like, poor sod, he's come to Middlesbrough, like we've got a really crap performance, and it was like, oh, he's probably sitting there thinking, what the hell have I signed up for? And look at him now, like here he is, like
wasn't that the same game that Arabi decided to go to Belgium instead of going to Millwall as well, the Boro game?
Exactly.
Yes.
And we ended up signing
that Arabi was there as well, but he wasn't there, was he?
So that was quite interesting. And bless him, like the first game that he saw was us getting a battering.
I know, exactly. I guess that probably gave him confidence. He probably thought, it can't get any worse than that, can it? You know, so that probably gave him a little bit of hope. But no, fantastic comments from all of you there. Cheers for that, Bex, and thanks,
Can
guys.
I just add one thing, Joe? Because I think one thing I think that separates Del Boy a little bit from the others is like you can see he likes to get forward as well. Like he's sort of a more box to box. Yesterday as well, he played a 1-2 with Ivanovic, and had he had a slightly better first touch, he could have been in and scored. He wins us the free kick because he gets forward against Watford. I think that aspect that he has in his game is really interesting, because I think in the past our two central midfielders has sat back a lot and haven't really got forward very much. And I think that's what we're missing sometimes if we want to add these 7, 8, 9, 10 goals that we probably have been lacking in terms of getting into the top 6. So I think him having that really adds something to his game that maybe some of the others don't. Casper has it a little bit. Billy doesn't really possess it, if you ask me. Luongo doesn't. Smallbone, you could argue, but he's out now. So, no, I just think he possesses so many different attributes that makes him a really, really interesting prospect, Del Boy.
No, couldn't agree with you more there, Jesper. Cheers for that. Jesper, I'm going to stay with yourself now. So we're going to move up the pitch a little bit further to the fun bit, the attacking bit, and that attacking four. We'll leave Ivanovic right to the end, but let's look at the attacking three at the moment. We had Smallbone in the number 10. We got Femi Aziz on the right hand side, and we've got Tierno Ballo on that left hand side. I mean, these last three games, we're having Ballo on one side and Aziz on the other. What a difference it's made to our attacking force. I mean, 7 goals now in the last 3 games. I've got some stats here if I can find it. So just to give you an idea, 7 goals last three games. We won 3-0 against West Brom, 2-1 against QPR, 2-0 against Stoke. Aziz has contributed with 3 goals, 1 assist, and Ballo's got 3 assists. Obviously, 2 he got last night as well, yet to score for us, but I'm sure it's going to come very, very soon. Prior to that, Jesper, we were persistent in playing Nimaku and Camille Negley for quite a lengthy amount of games, at least 7 or 8 games. And between both of them, we probably got 1 or 2 goals, I think, from Camille, and maybe 1 assist, but it wasn't really that much. And it just seems we got a lot more from these 2. And how important are these 2 at the moment in turning around our fortunes, especially in the attacking side of the pitch at the moment?
Yeah, I mean, they've been vital, haven't they? I mean, we've been crying out for an end product, and it's not to throw anyone under the bus or saying that Negley and Imarco have been terrible, but we've spoken so often about this final ball into the box, the final cross, the final cutback, in order to get these goals, and we haven't had so. But yesterday, is a prime example of how you deliver, a pinpoint cross into the box, and the cutback for the second goal is excellent as well. And of course, when you got wingers in form, it breeds confidence. And Femi right now is obviously on a roll in terms of assists and goals, and it's brilliant to see. I wouldn't say that they are the same type, but they do possess some of the same attributes in terms of they can take on a man. They're quite speedy, both of them. Femi's got a great shot from distance as well, and can also go right and cross it. Ballo, is, I don't know about his shooting abilities, but I think this was the first game where we saw his sort of attacking abilities. We've seen glimpses in the other games, but it's predominantly he's been more solid defensively. He hasn't been as active in the other games for I don't know, for various reasons. But yesterday we just saw what he can do, and this was his, I guess, third start. Was it the third or fourth start? So third start, yeah. So for me, it's one of them that he will only get better once he settles in. We have to remember that many of the players we have in our team was either signed last summer. If you take Lenny and Coops out, they were either signed last summer, maybe Billy and Casper. But last summer, in January, some this summer, it's still a team that's we're trying to gel things. What is our best starting 11? I think we're starting to see now what our strongest 11 is, and I think the QPR and yesterday's game showed that. So I think this will probably what we will see going forward. There will be a few chops and changes as always. The number 10 role for me, and I'm not pointing out any particular players, still leaves a bit for me to be desired, because I don't think we are utilizing that role good enough offensively. I don't think the player in that position is being effective enough, and is not
really
adding enough at the moment. I think in terms of pressing defensively and how our shape is, yes, but going forward, I haven't seen the player yet who I want in that position. And that can be anyone from Smallbone to Condell to RBW to Negley.
It feels that position's still up for grabs, doesn't it, at the moment? No one's really cemented that, have they? I agree with you. You can always kind of state a claim that everyone's deserving of their place at the moment in the team, apart from probably the midfield, we're still a little bit up for grabs. But that number 10 spot is definitely anyone's, isn't it? And I think with Smallbone being out now, it really does open up the door. Cheers for that, Jesper. Coming to yourself, Bex. Just want to get your thoughts on Femi Aziz and Tieno Ballo. I mean, the shift that these guys put in, and not just attacking wise, even defensively, the amount of yards that they cover. I mean, they're pretty much dead on their feet. Well, I know Femi Aziz was quite a bit. He couldn't wait to come off, could he?
I was going to say, and I think at one point they put the Stoke number 11 up, didn't they? Everyone started going, yay! And he was like,
and Alex Neil was telling to get back on the pitch again.
So he was so ready to get off. Bless him, he was.
He was knackered. He was absolutely knackered. But what do you make of their performance? Certainly in the last 3 games, how they kind of transformed us, attacking wise at the moment. It's incredible, isn't it?
It has been incredible, and for it to happen so quickly as well, I think it just shows, I think, that the time that they're probably putting in training as well and bringing it onto the pitch, and you can see what they're practicing, I think, a little bit more. But Ballo and obviously Femi, just the speed down both sides. I can't remember the last time we had that sort of speed down the sides.
Yeah, you're right.
I really can't go who have we had that's kind of been there. Like, obviously we had SA at one point, but I don't even think he kind of
had that directness.
No, I don't think he had that directness to kind of get there and get down, and I just Femi just really excites me. I've said it before, he does excite me as a player, and I think he's proven why he's exciting to watch. Just like you said, with him being able to get back defensively and to be able to get forward and still actually be able to make the play that he's doing, just shows the quality of him. And obviously you've got Ballo on the other side that's also doing something quite similar, and they're working really hard together to link up. I did actually listen to his after match,
post match,
and he actually said that he's looking to link up with Femi. They're actually working together really hard to to make them balls, to work up, to get the ball over.
Well, that first goal was a prime
that
example of that, weren't it?
Correct, yeah. And you can just see it. And I think as well, Bello, 22 minutes, put the ball into Smallbone as well. For him to try and obviously make that goal, but obviously he didn't get enough behind it. And then you had Mihailo again, just slightly off. But again, that was through the run that Bello done to get it across to get it over. Whether that ball was meant to be for Femi, I don't know. But
well, he put it in the right area, didn't he?
He put it in the right area, and they're just really exciting. They're really exciting to watch, and just to see what's to come. Again, they're not the finished products, but you can see that they are working hard to get them balls in. And goal wise, I don't even know what's to come.
How exciting. We want to wrap them cotton wool, don't we, Bex, at the moment, and make sure they can last the whole season, don't we?
Oh, that's my biggest worry, that it's just that injury, because we're just knocking the injuries. Obviously, we're going to touch on that, but that is that worry, that it's just like you just want to wrap them in bubble wrap, a bit of cotton wool, and just make it to the end. So
that's it. Exactly. Fantastic. Cheers to that, Bex.
Amazing.
Brilliant, good stuff. And coming to yourself, Ben, before we do that, just want to read Andrew Roberts' comment here, and it's very true. Thanks for reminding me. Aziz scored last night Millwall's 6,000th goal since we were founded, and Crammer got our 6,001st goal as well. So fantastic achievement there from the boys, and well done. But coming to you, Ben, just get your thoughts on Ballo and Aziz. I mean, this is really the highlight of the show. We kind of waited 36 minutes to kind of get here, half an hour, but this is the bit we're waiting for. They were absolutely incredible and have been great for the last 3 games. I mean, just make a comparison. Do you remember when Aziz first signed for us, and he was almost deemed as like SA's replacement, and he was pretty poor in my eyes? He's really developed, isn't he, since then?
Yeah, I tweeted this. I'm going to say it now live on the show. I owe him a massive apology. I was the leader of who the fuck is this geezer, and why have we spent £1 million on him?
Send him back to Reading.
Mate, I was leader of that brigade. I thought we signed the dud here. He didn't look quick. He didn't look like anything about him. And now I'm first one signing that petition for, like someone said earlier, the Ballon d'Or. So, unbelievable. If there's a better winger in the league, I'm yet to see him. I just think we've had him back for 2 games, and you can see the difference in us going forward is just unbelievable. He's the rate of knots he's improved, mate, is just unbelievable. I just didn't see it when we first signed him, like a lot of us. But I run out of superlatives for him, because he's just getting better and better and better. And I'm just so happy that we managed to get him, honestly, because there'd be a lot of clubs I'd imagine interested in Femi Aziz. He's only 24. Ballo, unbelievable as well, mate. Obviously, from his Chelsea background, because he's very technical. We just look like a proper side going forward. Every time we get it, I'm thinking we're going to do something here. So, mate, just so impressed with both of them. I don't want to dig out my mate, but I'm just going to do it anyway. And now we've got a proper pair of wingers on either side, and that can actually put in a decent final delivery. We're starting to score goals. I'm not going to dig him out anymore, but I think I saw a tweet yesterday. I think Ballo's got half the goal contributions since he's been in than Amaka has got in his whole Mill career.
It's 62 games, isn't it? I think, or something along those lines. Yeah.
Says it all. Amaka will be at Bromley in 2 years.
Yeah, fantastic. I mean, again, we talk about their attacking display and what they give us in the final third, which is brilliant. But their defensive display, I mean, sometimes I get tired just looking at Ballo, like 80 minutes, and he's sprinting back.
Femi's work. Again,
both of them, and I think Chris's comment, if you watch his post-match analysis last night, he said that Ballo reminds him of like a Jimmy Abdu with a bit of technical ability and a bit of flair. There's no disrespect to Jimmy Abdu, but I completely get where he's coming from. That guy can run and run and run. He's such a fit guy. Even on the 90th minute, he's still busting the gut. And Femi Aziz ain't that far behind him on the fitness levels. I mean, they really do make a difference. And like Beck said, we really need to wrap up the cotton wool and bubble wrap and make sure that they stay safe. Because if they can keep fit and healthy throughout this season, we've got a chance of the promised land, haven't we? And we really do need to wrap them up and make sure we fight the bidders away come January, because a lot of clubs will be after Femi Aziz.
I was going to, and I'm sorry to just so obviously Femi, and then you got Ballo as well, and obviously we don't know what's going to be happening with him. But he did also say in his interview he really hopes to stay. So
I love that.
That's a good. I love
that.
I love that he had actually said that he hoped to stay further in. They kind of said,
Longer.
and that kind of that gave me a little bit of hope. Actually, he's actually quite enjoying being here.
Yeah.
Obviously, we've got to fight to keep him, but the fact that he's already putting it out there so early on that he wants to stay, is a good sign for us. Definitely.
Absolutely. And we don't know the ins and outs of the deal. I mean, just GC London there is mentioned. Have we got to buy it? I mean, I understood it as a loan to buy. And I think the reason why it's a loan to buy is because it was last minute we were trying to sign him for the transfer window. So we had to agree to this loan to buy to kind of get him through the door. But I'll be very surprised if we don't try and buy him in January or come to some sort of deal in January. So it'd be interesting to see how that pans out.
But it's not like the Fleming deal where it's a loan, an obligation to buy. It's an option that we have. But I think we have first dips in the summer to get him for. I believe there is an agreed fee, isn't there, between 4 and 5 million euros, if I'm not mistaken. So I think it's about us triggering that deal, and of course Ballo wanting to come to us. So I think we're in a good position if we want to sign him at least.
So if we put a petition out, everybody.
Exactly. Yeah.
Get whip round more like Bex.
Get whip round.
So does it matter? So that price should be agreed. There. It doesn't matter how well he plays. I can't renegotiate now, can they? Go right. We agreed 4 million at the start of the season. He's so good now. We want 10 million. That can't be done. Surely not.
No. I just think we can pull out and say we don't want the deal to go through. We don't want to.
Right. Okay. Excellent. Okay.
I think so. I think that's how it works. Ben, correct me if I'm wrong here. So
nice, bang on that. I think if there's an option in there, it'll be for us to trigger that option, but they can't really go check price.
Right, with you. Bex, I'm coming back to yourself now. We're all talking about the number 10 role at the moment. Robert mentioned here, could we play Ballo as a 10 and bring Doughty on the left? I mean, that's a great possibility. He did play in a 10, if I remember, a few games back, didn't he, at home against, I'm not sure who it was against now, but he did seem to play quite well. And that number 10 role, obviously, real shame what happened to Smallbone. I thought he, as the guy said as well, did a job for us, probably more defensively and pressing than he did offensively. But that position is really up for grabs at the moment. I mean, who do you see coming in there at the moment who can be the player that's going to fill in that number 10 role?
It's really hard because I was like really pinning my hopes on Smallbone. I'm not going to lie, because I actually thought he was really starting to prove himself, and I thought we were really starting to see what he was actually bringing to the team. So when that happened last night, I did sit there and was like, oh crap, who are we going to bring in? And obviously they brought Kundal on, didn't they? He done all right. He done the job, but I don't know whether he's going to be the one to fill that position.
And an interesting point you made there, though, Bex, because it's weird. I think the fan base is sort of split on Kundal. Some of them admire his work ethic and the fact he works hard, he presses, he tackles. Others sort of feel like, well, what does he bring to our team? Where do you sit with Kundal?
Yeah, so I was going to say, like, he does. He's got that work rate, and like I say, he comes on, he gets the job done. I think that's all he does. He just he's there, feels like he makes the numbers up. Like I don't see what he brings. Like you can see others what they're kind of bringing to the table. He's there, and he is just there for a number. He's like, okay, you're on the pitch, just make the numbers up and get the job done. So I'm very much on the fence with him. But again, we've not seen enough of him to see what he can actually do. So maybe this is the opportunity to actually prove himself and show us what he can actually do. But at the minute, I think I said I was so pinning my hopes on Smallbone to do that role.
I'm in agreement.
I feel like I'm a bit of a loss to go. Who can we actually put there? Because no one's really jumping out at me and going, let's put them there and give it a go. Of course, somebody said that you could put Ballo over there and then bring Alfie in. But actually, I really like Ballo where he is at the minute because done. And when Alfie's been there in the past, in the few times we've seen him, he's not brought that same flair and that same work rate. And at the minute, I'm liking what we've got. I'm a creature of habits, I'm not going to lie, but I like what we've got. And I feel like if we change that like so soon already, I don't think it's going to work for us. So I'm a bit
on the fence a bit.
Who I want to say to put in there, because like I said, my hopes were really pinned on Will. Yeah.
Well, who knows? Whoever gets that position, they've got a great opportunity to make that place their own.
And maybe Kundal will. Maybe he will make it his own and actually prove what he can do, and we won't be sitting on the fence any longer. So
yeah, great point.
He seems a nice guy.
Yeah, he seems nice. So let's give him a go. Give him a go. Ben,
if I can, sorry.
Yeah.
No, I just wanted to mention that, when Ballo came on his first game against Palace, he was playing closer to Ivanovic. We were playing a different system, and he was playing quite close to him. And I thought he actually did well in that role, just behind the striker. And he should have had an assist for Negley as well. And he should have had an assist second half as well for Coburn, the way he waved his way through the defense. So maybe there is a part for him to play in that 10 role. But as Beck said, he's been great on the wings. So I would also hesitate to bring him in there now, because I think we have other options who can do the job. So
great.
He seems like a very versatile player, Ballo, and I think he will perform quite well wherever he plays.
I think he sort of play. You're right. I think he'll play in goal, and I think he'll be great, really, for us.
Probably won't like another Lenny.
Exactly. We'll play every position. Exactly. Ben, coming to yourself next. Great comment from Wall Lion. He said, Doughty isn't fit. Someone mentioned about Doughty playing. Yeah, RBW would be fantastic for Ivanovic. Obviously, RBW and Ivanovic got this long history that stems from the under-21s where, they set each other up quite a lot. RBW set up a lot of goals for Ivanovic, even in the first team, and vice versa. Ivanovic passed on to RBW. There seems to have a connection there. We've been crying out for RBW to get into the team at the moment. I know he came on last night for the last sort of 5 or 6 minutes. Didn't really give enough time for him to impress, although I think he did try to get stuck in and work hard for the team. But again, is he someone who you feel can take that number 10 role, or do you see someone else who's probably favoured in front of him at the moment?
Without doubt, mate, he's my number one on that list. Get him in the 10. My love and admiration for him. I want him in the side as quickly as possible. I can't stake claim to this, but I was actually chatting to Chris earlier, and we spoke about, obviously, Smallbone going off. And in the 10, it's probably the only position that we're not happy with an injury, but we've got a lot of players that can play there. And I don't feel like it's going to affect us with Smallbone being injured, because we've got so many options in there. And when Chris said that, I thought, actually, it's not a bad shout. But absolutely, mate, going back to RBW, for me, it's a match. That role is perfect for him. He wants to play central. He doesn't really want to play wide. I think he's so creative. We've got Ivanovic, who's going to play, well, depending on how long Kundal's out for. There's a lot of rumours flying about with that, but he's going to play every minute of every game that he's going to be able to. Ivanovic is screaming out for him now to come in and put his mark on the season, RBW. And someone else I wouldn't mind seeing in there is Negley, mate. I've said it, I think his role is between the post, between the penalty spot. We spoke about his pace or his lack of, but his technical ability is there. So I wouldn't mind to see him in that 10. And then a front four of Ivanovic, Ballo, Femi, RBW or Negley. I mean,
that's true.
That is great. That is a decent front four. So, but going back to your original question, mate, yes, absolutely RBW. Don't mind seeing Negley in there either.
Yeah, no, I'm with that, and again, great point of Negley as well. RBW I think would be fantastic number 10 role. Love to see him there.
And just sorry, mate, I was going to say, just on the Kundal piece as well. I go between really like him and meh.
Yeah, why is that though? Why does it split fans' opinion, Kundal?
I don't know. It's probably going to sound very harsh. I don't intend it to be. I think he's almost a George Honeyman type workhorse, but he's a better. I was just going to say it. Do you know what I mean? That's not. I don't understand that bad at all, because he obviously works very hard, and he does a lot off the ball. He's a better technical player. I don't know where his best position is. He can play left midfield. He can play in the 10. He's played deeper.
He played on the right hand side.
He played on the right hand side. And it's almost like that. Honeyman did all those sorts of things, but he's a better technical player than Honeyman. So I think that's going to be his biggest problem. I don't know where he's going to play for us, and maybe Neil thinks that. I don't know, but that's my thing with Kundal. I don't know where he plays for us. I don't know where he plays.
Yeah, interesting point. Coming to yourself, Jesper. Robbo's point there. RBW won't press like Kundal does, and there's a conspiracy out there that maybe Alex Neil, although he rates RBW and he sees him as somebody who's got that bit of magic and can make something out of nothing, there's this question whether or not he's an Alex Neil type player, as in Alex Neil does like runners. He likes people who's going to run over the place, likes of Kundals and whatnot. But is that fair? Does RBW then deserve to not get that chance playing that number 10 role. I mean, he's proven last year and when he has come on in that number 10 role, he can be so effective. I mean, Charlton, for example, he scores 2, 1 goal disallowed, and last season the assists against Luton for Ivanovic, the assists against Portsmouth away for Ivanovic. Again, when that boy's on the ball and he picks up those pockets of space, he can make things happen, can't he? I mean, where do you sit at number 10? And guys in the chat, while waiting for Jesper as well, put in your preference for number 10. Who would you put in the 10? Sorry, Jesper, go on, mate.
No, that's all right. Yeah, no, I was actually thinking the exact same thing as Robert just posted in the chat. I was like, would I like RBW in the 10? Yes, because him and Ivanovic has shown a great partnership in the games that we've seen last season. And I was just thinking, why is he not playing then? If I had to make like an objective sort of view and analysis, and I have to maybe agree with Rob, who says that maybe. Because when you look at RBW, and I would say, when you look at Negley as well, they remind me, they're quite similar types in the way that they play. They're very technical. They're not the fastest. And maybe he wants someone in that 10 who's very aggressive, who can press very hard because I think we're one of the teams who has the most recoveries in the opposition's half. So I think he wants that type of player in that 10 who can really go at them. And maybe that's just what he's missing, RBW, that he can really press at the same intensity that maybe Kundal can and Smallbone can and the players who play in that.
Can he do that, in your opinion?
I think he can learn it, yeah, but maybe he's not there yet, and maybe that's the reason he's not starting games right now, because I do think that Alex Neil rates him and likes him, because he played last season. If he didn't like him at all, he wouldn't have been in the squad. That's very simple if you ask me. So I think maybe he's just getting to grips with, if you have to play in this position, you need to be doing this and this, and you need to learn to be here and here when we start our press, because it's so vital. Because if we get our pressing wrong, if you've seen in games, we start off slowly. Very often, the first 10 minutes we sit back. Then around the 15-minute mark, we go high. Then we start to press. 15, 20 minutes we start high pressing. And if you get that wrong, it's easily to get overplayed in midfield. And we saw that with Joe Edwards. If we don't get it right, it's so easy for the opposition to go down the other end and score. So I think it's something that means a lot to Alex, that the player who is in that position gets it spot on. And then, of course, it's a bonus that you need to have, of course, technical abilities and can set up goals. But I think, in terms of what is most important for Alex when he sets up his squad is that the pressing, we get it right, so we don't get caught out in the other end. That was the only reason I could come up with it when I was out walking the dog this morning.
I do my best thinking when I'm walking the dog. Usually, is what am I going to have for dinner, and what time do I want to go for my evening poo at? But apart from that, but no, it's a problem to have. And the difficult thing is, I think if we're losing games, not playing well, it'd be easy for us to pick faults on Alex Neil, right? We could say to them, "What you're doing? Why aren't you playing RBW?" But when we're playing well, and we're winning games, you can't really argue with Alex Neil's decision at the moment, and that's what makes it very difficult. However, going forward now, with the situation we've got with Smallbone being injured, it does cause a bit of a what happens next, and who is he going to pick? So Saturday quite interesting. We're at home against Leicester. Does he go for, as you say, the player that's going to be tenacious and press and do the defensive work in the 10, or are we going to go at them, with attack, threat, and creativity, and therefore you think you'll pick, RBW or Negley surely in that sort of area, Ben, coming to yourself now. We're right at the top of the pitch now. We've covered the goalkeeper, we've covered the defence, covered midfield, covered the wingers, number 10. We're now at the striker. I mean, again, Coburn's out injured. We will talk about our injuries in a second. But for now, what did you make of Ivanovic? He's our only fit and available first-team striker at the moment. What did you make of his performance yesterday? Do you see any improvements?
Yeah, I have. He certainly looks more interested now. He's working a bit harder. He's putting himself about a bit more than we've seen earlier on in the season. There was an opportunity he had in the second half, which he did really well. He skinned the Stoke centre half. He turned him inside out, and the keeper actually made
that's a great bit of play, wasn't it? Yeah, it was
a really good bit of play. And the keeper made a good save. So yeah, I think already, mate, seeing more from him. My concern now is he's going to play a lot of minutes. We talk about wrapping the wide players up in Cotton Wall. We've just got to wrap him up in Cotton Wall, because who else are we going to have?
And also, Ben, sorry to interrupt you, Ben, but even so for that's a lone striker playing 90 minutes. It's
That's
bad
my
enough
point.
playing a striker with a front two when he's got Koba alongside him, but you're absolutely spot on to play that lone striker while you're up there on your own, doing all the pressing, all the battling. It's a big ask, isn't it, for 90 minutes?
It is, and especially the way that we play, we do get it forward. It's not direct, but we get it forward quickly, I would say. There's a lot at times where the centre forward needs to hold it up, bring others into play. If he's out, we're going to be then looking at the likes of Langstaff. I think we've all been in agreement that he's not as lone striker. He's definitely better in a two. So yeah. Again, answer your question, mate. Much better, much improved. I'm seeing him being more interested now, which is probably the main thing. But I'm concerned that he's going to have to play a lot of minutes. So I hope he's fit.
Absolutely. Come to yourself, Jesper. I mean, a goal makes a big difference. We saw what he did to Ivanovic against QPR by scoring, and his reaction and the engagement with the fans, and he's sort of back in love with football, it seems, again, you know. And yesterday he did show a little bit more positivity, a little bit more aggression, tenacity. You know, he had a go, as Ben said, a bit of trickery there, trying to create that goal, that chance for himself. You know, where do you make this performance yesterday, and where does he go from here, in your opinion?
I think he was much more involved yesterday. I thought he was even better than he was at QPR, where he scored. He didn't score yesterday, but he was much more involved. He had I think 3 or 4 chances, not big chances, but he was there and could have scored. So yeah, definitely positive. But as Ben said, my only worry is the amount of minutes that he might have to play, because if you remember how many minutes Tom Bradshaw had to do under Gary Rowett, and he was sort of taped up from ankle to shoulder at the end, because he was running his balls off. And we don't.
You can say it. Run his testicles off.
Yeah.
Is that fair?
Yeah, I don't know if that's a proper expression. We can use that anyway. We don't have any, so it's. I think we're quite eager to know about Coburn's injury length to know when can he be back to support him, because I'm not saying Langstaff can't, but at the minute he's also out. I don't know what his injury is. I know we're going to cover that in a minute. So
we could anyway, cover that now if you want to at the same time, Jesper, I suppose.
Yeah, but what I would say is we've got 4 games now before the next international break. I think he'll be fine. He's a young lad, and he hasn't played. He hasn't played every minute so far this season. So I think we'll be fine somehow that he's going to play these 4 games. And then, of course, it'll be interesting to see who we got back. Maybe Langstaff will be back before the internationals, which I hope he will. But it's just, again, not to throw anyone under the bus. I just feel there's a different inequality between having Langstaff on and having Mihailo on. And it's 2 completely different type of strikers as well. Which means if Langstaff is on, we need to sort of change our game a bit. We can't go as direct because he's not going to win these 50-50. He's not going to hold it up as well as Mia does. So there is that element to it as well. But overall, I think we have to remember that he's still a young kid, and he might have looked uninterested in the first game. I think when you don't get that first goal as a striker in the season, it becomes sort of this heavy cloud above your head. You start to think about it too much, and it affects your performance. And you could see how relieved he was on Saturday when that ball went in, and the love he showed to the fans as well when he walked down. I don't know if that was for halftime or after the goal, but you could just see he was very relieved. And I think that after the goal, we spoke about that ball into the box, didn't we, Ben? Where he nearly gets on the end of it against QPR, but he hesitates. And I think if he gets that chance after he scores again. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's the difference. Goals makes a huge difference for strikers. It's I think it did him the world of good, and I hope he will kick on from here. And I thought last night he was good, and that's what we want to see from him every game.
Yeah, nice one. Cheers for that, Jesper. Thanks very much. Guys, we want to touch on injuries now, which is a bit of a shame. We've got quite a few players out at the moment, Bex. Obviously, Alex Neil comes out after the game yesterday, which I thought was quite refreshing, actually. I know the media mentioned that he will talk about that, and we kind of want this for a long time. I mean, for ages, it seems like injuries and what goes on behind the scenes all been kept in-house, and everyone's wondering what's going on and blah, blah, blah. But yesterday, he kind of came out, he spoke about each player individually. We learned that Luong goes out with ACL injury, so he's going out for the whole season, it seems. Josh Cobe, I think you mentioned, been a quad. Out for a few months as well. Yeah, what do you make of that, and how's that going to affect us going forward now?
I think it's frustrating, especially because we've been started to find that little bit of pace and kind of find everyone kind of gelling together, and then to get these injuries, it just throws us kind of back out of it to some extent, but obviously does give the other players that opportunity. But I think Coburn was starting to come out of himself as well, and I had quite a huge confidence, especially when Mihailo had his low confidence. I kind of was like, okay, well, at least Josh is kind of starting to prove himself a little bit.
That's right. Yeah, good point. Yeah.
Great now Mihailo's found his rhythm again. But like you touched on there, the fact that actually there's that now chance that he could obviously get injured. And then you've got Josh and then maybe Mihailo out. It's frustrating because it's like what's happening for all these injuries to kind of take place. But I suppose it's the nature of it is they're working really hard because they want to obviously prove themselves to the fans. These things are gonna come about. Obviously Massimo is like pretty gutted about that. It's going to be a full season, and potentially it could be a finisher for him, especially with his age, the recovery.
Absolutely,
career ending. And then obviously Langstaff, he's got a bit of concussion.
Yeah,
that in itself, it might be a couple of games, it might be a little bit longer. It depends how bad that concussion is.
True. Yeah,
for him to recover. So, like you said, it was refreshing for Alex to come out at the end and actually kind of give a bit of a breakdown as to what is actually happening. Kind of just rather than leave us in the dark and go, just kind of have a little bit of information. So it was quite refreshing to kind of hear him say, this is this person, this person, this person. Obviously, we don't know how long he's going to be out with. Obviously, he's hamstring, but that did look pretty serious. Oh, it's on down on my side when it happened, and you could just see it just go. So I think that's probably in itself probably a month, maybe a couple of months in itself for recovery.
Right, yeah. Good point.
And then obviously Bender is only groin in, and I don't think people are going to be too worried about that. So.
No, that's it. Exactly. I think he could take his time on that recovery, can't he? Poor Bender.
Probably was.
Yeah. While Max is doing the business between the sticks.
It's just frustrating to have so many injuries again.
I know. No, you're right. Absolutely. No. You're spot on. Ben, come to yourself. Obviously, first of all, Luongo, big shame. He was winning the Fanzo at the start of the season. Great performances. Seemed getting better and better. I mean, I for one question whether or not he'd be good enough to do 90 minutes. I thought he'd be someone who could probably do 60, 70 minutes, but he proved me wrong. He was getting better and better as he was getting fitter and fitter at the start of the season. So a big loss, especially with his experience playing at a high level. What do you make of that? For the midfield, is that as a bigger issue than Coburn being out at the moment?
Probably not, but I'm just gutted for Mass. Really gutted for him, mate. He's done, isn't he? He's probably not going to play for us now. Again, really gutted, mate. Really gutted for him. He seems like a great pro. Seems like a great person. Seems like he's enjoyed his role of being a more senior player at the club. You can
all the players love him. That's usually a telltale sign, isn't it? Yeah, exactly.
How the QPR fans reacted. I know he played for him. Obviously, they were. There's a lot of messages flying around on social media for him as well. So absolutely gutted for Mass, mate. Really am. Central midfield though. Again, well, I suppose just in general for the amount of players we've got in there, but they are all injury prone. So if we can get them all fit, it's not a problem. But Billy's had multiple injuries already this year. Casper's obviously had an injury. Smallbone's obviously now out. Kundal's been out a couple of times already. So players that can play in there, we're just waiting for Derek to break down, aren't we? And then we'll have a full house of central midfielders that are never fit. But listen, as I say, gutted for Mass. But the injuries in general, I don't know what the hell is going on at our club, because it's I know in the past we've perhaps signed players that have had injury issues or histories.
Yeah.
But is this beyond the coincidence now? I mean, I don't know what I'm implying.
No, it's a good point. No, it's a very good point, because you do wonder. We don't analyse every single club and all their injury problems, but we do feel that every club has them. We seem getting more than most.
It does seem that way.
and a lot of it's trading ground, accidents and problems as well. You hear it quite often, don't you? And it seems to be muscular as well. Whether it be hamstrings, calves, thighs, whatever. There was that rumor before that apparently I think it was our training ground pitches. I think they got a bit soggy, a bit soft, the pitches because of the drainage. Right. And then our pitch at the Den, because it's like a hybrid pitch, is a lot more of a harder turf. And because of the transition between training pitches and our pitches, it caused a bit of an issue, for their legs, their muscles. But then someone did tell me that apparently they've redone the training ground pitches now. So now that's all been corrected and drainage is working on there. So we can't use that as an excuse anymore. I think it's actually Gary Rowett that mentioned that back in the day, that he thought that was an issue and that was a concern. And it just shows you how far back this goes now. We're not just talking just recently, are we? But it's definitely a concern, isn't it?
Yeah, just if we can actually get a fit squad. When we were talking about it last week, like we were just about to get a fully fit squad, right? And now we're already going on. We've got 4 or 5 players out again in 2 games. So, as I've already said, mate, gutted for Max. Really, he was going to play a key part, I would have thought, for us this season, just from his experience being in and around the young squad. But the amount of injuries we seem to be picking up is concerning.
A good point. And then Jesper, come to yourself, mate, with regards to the injury sort of situation. I mean, Luongo out for season, Coburn out, looks like for a couple of months at least, if not more. Bender short term, Langstaff short term, Smallburn, we don't know yet the severity of this one yet. Billy Mitchell, hopefully just an illness. He might be back hopefully on Saturday. It depends how he is. But what do you see as our biggest concern at the moment on the injury front? And, where do we go from here, really?
I think you need to sort of divide it up into like what type of injuries it is, because when we talk muscular injuries, I think that's where you need to probably look at, say, is there anything we can do better? Is there anything you can improve on? You look at Luongo's injury, it's a freak injury. His foot gets stuck in the turf. He twists his knee against QPR. I mean, what can you do? I mean, this happens sometimes, So it's just very unfortunate. Langstaff apparently having a small concussion. I don't know how that happened, but how often does it really happen, that you get a concussion?
Yeah.
Then, of course, Billy, as we've heard, looks like he's ill. So that's different. I hope he's back on Saturday in the squad. So, but then you got Smallbone, you got Coburn's quad, and you got Bender's groin, which, it seems like Bender and Coburn got injured just before. Was it the weekend or was it this game? I can't. But it was in
training, midweek training.
In training, at least, in training. So of course there is something to look at, because why does it keep happening? We just got everyone back before the QPR game, and suddenly we're looking at 3-4 who's out. Okay, for various reasons, but still it keeps coming back.
Would you say, Jesper? Sorry to interrupt you there, but would you say it's partly down to the intensity of the game and how hard Alex Neil is pushing our players at the moment? I mean, there's no hiding the fact that Alex Neil wants them working hard. He wants them pressing high up the pitch, and is he demanding too much from them? Is that a cause? Is that a concern that maybe they're just being pushed above their limits at the moment? Hence the reason why we get so many of these muscular kind of injuries. I mean, I'm not mentioning Bender here. I'm talking about the outfield players, really.
No, it's a good question, and it's a good question, especially for the players you have in the forward positions, who I think does the most intense pressing, sort of your midfielders, your wingers, etc. And it was quite interesting because I saw an interview. I can't remember if it was with Brighton or Brentford's recruitment team in terms of how they recruit players. And one of the parameters they have when they recruit players, because they play, a certain sort of intense style as well, is how injury prone are these players we're going to sign, because it's very important that they don't break down after 2, 3, 4 games, because then we're not going to sign them. So that was one of the parameters they used and say, all right, what attributes does he have, how quick and blah, 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 but also how injury prone is this player. If he was too injury prone, they would sign a different player. So it's definitely something that the clubs are looking at, because the game is getting quicker and quicker. Obviously, at one point, he can't get any quicker, but we're just seeing, all the players in the Premier League nowadays, from, keeper to striker, athletic, they're quick, they're fast, they're strong, they need to have these attributes in order to, unless you're Xavi or Iniesta sort of type, then you need to have these sort of attributes. So it's definitely something, how would you say, it's something you need to look at. And I don't know if we look at that when we sign a player, or if we do it differently. But I know it's definitely something for not only the recruitment team but the club to look at, say like, okay, what's happening here? But I can't give you an answer to why it keeps happening to us. If it's the training pitch, if it's the player, it's just weird. It keeps happening over and over again.
I mean,
and for different players as well. It's not always the same players. Then it's then it's Neckley, then it's Kundal, then it's Femi, then it's Ivanovic, then it's
We look at someone like Kasper, who he's very rarely ever had any injuries throughout his career, but yet he has had one or two since he's been with us as well. And I think the game has evolved a lot. I mean, we did that interview, didn't we, on a few weeks back on the live with Gordon Hill. And I was looking at some archive videos and games back in the 70s. I mean, Jesus Christ, I think they didn't even have any subs. And then they had one sub was allowed, during those games. And those guys were literally it feels like they had their legs hanging off and dangling sometimes. And they're just battling and playing, every week in, week out. Very rarely get injured. But then the game's changed a lot since then. Those days, it's very much the ball did the work for you. A lot of it was like long ball, hit the ball long. Whereas now, and I blame Mourinho for this a little bit, he brought this park the bus sort of system in. And what that means is you work hard to get up the pitch, but as soon as you lose the ball, what's the first thing they're going to do? They're either going to press it or get back and sprint back to win, to get behind the ball again, make it difficult. So you constantly got two sides doing exactly the same thing. You see it now week in, week out. But then every team we play against, they track back. We got to track back, and you're just constantly moving up the pitch, back the pitch. So it's just back and forth, and you're putting so much on your body there. The game has changed a lot, over the years, and that could be another reason why. But it does feel like it's more us that kind of gets hurt by this injury thing, doesn't it, guys? I don't know whether you guys want to jump in and add anything more to that point before we move on.
Yeah, mate, like you said, it might be right. We maybe just don't notice with other clubs, but it does seem like ours come in batches. It's never one or two players, is it? It's always
you're right.
4, 5, or 6. And we spoke about it before. It's not something that's been. It's not something that's just happened to us now, right? Jeff said it in the chat. It's been happening for the last 4, 5, 6 years. I know. You can look back at the players that we had signed previously. Probably had a bit of a history of injuries, but. Listen, it might be nothing. It might just be pure bad luck and coincidence, but there also might be something.
But I'll say one thing. It doesn't make the situation better that we then in January go out and sign Lovelace, who then have to have an immediate knee surgery. It's just taking the piss, honestly.
This goes to your point though, Jesper, isn't it? With the Brighton situation, why are we signing players that might have had a bit of history? Because he had previous, these injury problems, didn't he, at Rangers? We still
then
take
if you look at Lenny, for instance, when he used to play in midfield, he had a lot of injuries. He was constantly out with this muscle injury. And since he's played at right back, he's barely been injured. I know he had that. He came off against Cardiff, but besides that, he's played nearly every game. So
absolutely,
is it coincidence? Is it? I don't know. It's really a strange one, I think.
Yeah. No, it's a very, 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 very good point there. To be honest with you, but I think we've kind of covered really the players and the injury side of it. So I want to kind of segment into now as well before we kind of wrap up. We're kind of approaching the kind of 75th minute at the moment. So we've got 15 minutes left, last quarter of an hour. A topic of discussion, guys, and I think I want to start with, I'm trying to think whose turn. I think it's Ben, your turn now, Ben. Attendance and atmosphere. Now, I know you don't get to many games. Obviously, you're quite far away up in Manchester at the moment, but you have been to enough games. And there's this thing where, during midweek games, certainly, there seems to be a lack of atmosphere at the Den a little bit. There's lots of season ticket holders that don't bother go to midweek games. I know where I sit, there's a few, season ticket holders that are there every Saturday, but when it comes to midweek games, I'd rather watch it on home on Sky on the old red button or whatever, And then what you tend to find is there's more tourists, more fans coming down, for the weekend, whatever, and they get tickets to watch us play. And then you do get that existing fans that kind of moan a little bit about the tourism and these, other sort of fans coming and watching and kind of changing the atmosphere at the Den. Where do you see that coming at the moment? Is that a good thing or a bad thing for the club?
I think anyone that goes through the turnstiles on a midweek game, mate, it's not a bad thing for the club. It's not like they're sat there and like singing there. I think there was rumours that there was Ajax fans there last night, right? It's not like they're singing about Ajax, right? So
I met a couple on the loo actually in the old crate by the old cafe. Some guy was chatting to me, some Dutch guy, and he's telling me about, he's coming over for Ajax, and while we're there, we're going to watch Millwall, yeah.
I mean, listen, I don't think it's a bad thing, and just going back to the point of the midweek games, something we've spoken about multiple times on the show. Me and my dad spoke about it years ago when the red button was first introduced. We said it would kill clubs like us for midweek games, where we rely on our atmosphere and it being intimidating and it being a sellout or near enough and it just being loud and boisterous. It does keep people away because it is an easier option just to say, I'll watch it on telly. And listen, everyone's got different reasons for that, but the red button, it will kill every club at every level apart from the Premier League, in my opinion, for away games, unless you've got unbelievable support. And I mean, probably like your likes and Leeds and Sheffield Wednesdays, big, massive clubs, right? But apart from that, if we're playing Plymouth on a Tuesday night, or if we're playing, I don't know, Middlesbrough on the same thing, you know what I mean? It's miles away. You're only going to get 100-200 going up there. And that's nothing again on us. It's a heck of a journey. When you've got the option to watch it on the red button, it's just sometimes easier. So the club will like it because of the money. Obviously, we get money from being on the red button. But is it good long term in terms of getting bums on seats? Absolutely not. And then again, going back to the sort of European fans coming, do I mind it? Mate, like you said, they're spending money in the club shop. They're there. No, would be my answer to that. I know again it divides opinion, but I don't think it bothers me.
Yeah, no, good point there, Ben, and cheers for that. And then just coming to yourself as well. I mean, obviously, football. Yes, it's our club, but it's a business, right? We rely heavily on gate receipts and sponsorship, and merchandise is also a big part of it as well. And yesterday, I remember sort of being by the Blue Bus having a beer with my son, and I'm sort of like standing there, and I can see pockets of like fans. You just sense that they're foreign fans. You've got like some German fans there, all having a beer and chatting and laughing. You've got some Italian fans there, and some Spanish fans there. But one thing I noticed, they're all kitted out. They're all wearing like Millwall tops. They've all got like Millwall scarves on. All got all these merchandise. All spending money with a beer, having a good time. I'm looking there thinking, you know what? Two things I'm thinking. One is this is great revenue for our club. Looking around, and then the second part I'm thinking, if all these foreign fans went here, it'd be half empty. Like people complain there's not enough fans there, but it's probably a lot less. I don't know how many there were. They're probably a good few hundred, if not 1,000. Tourists there. And if it wasn't for those fans, we'd probably have less fans. There'd be more seats and more empty seats on display in the midweek game. So again, just want to get your opinion as well before we go to Bex, of course. Sorry to interject. Sorry, Barry. Great comment there. I'm a season ticket holder, but live in Dorset. I cannot get a train home and to drive 3.5 hour drive. Great point there, Barry. But the point we're making is you've got fans that are local to the Den, that are season ticket holders that can be there, that can support our team and create an atmosphere, but they choose not to, which is what Ben was saying on the old Sky Red button. So, but cheers that, Barry. Sorry, Jess, go on, mate.
Yeah, no, I saw some good comments in the section here. And first, the rubber one, 14,000 yesterday. When I tune into Lions TV and the game was about to start, I looked at the Docker stand and I thought, there's probably 7,000-8,000 here today. So I was really surprised. I think that is a very, very good turnout for a Tuesday night against Stoke City, considering the team that we are. And I also want to say, I think the Millwall brand has also improved over the years. I remember when I lived in London from 2012 to 15, and I went to midweek games. The team that we had back then was not very good. I think we struggled to get around 7,000 or 8,000 in for these games, and it was, there was barely any atmosphere as well. So I think it has improved, despite the fact that there is more football to watch on telly. But I said it before we went on the live. I said, football is part of showbiz. Somehow it's entertainment, like a concert. It's like theater. Go in to see something. You want to be entertained, right? And if the show's good, people will turn up and they will, they won't stay at home because you're like, oh, I don't want to miss this game because what if we went on to win 3 and 4-0? But if you're going to watch Gary Taylor-Fletcher and Jamie Vincent at the left back, you might be, I'd rather fix the staircase.
Those are the days,
I'll go Saturday. But that's how it is. That's how it works with Millwall. We're not Man United. We're not Liverpool. We're not guaranteed 40,000, 50,000 in for every game. It's not how it works. Yeah. But if you can see now that the interest is starting to improve because, oh, hang on, we're third now. Then we go Stoke, we go Leicester as well, and people make an effort. That's at least how I see it, because as much as we have, I don't know, maybe it's different for how you see it, guys, but over here I can watch so much football every day if I want to. I've got Viaplay, I've got this channel, I've got this channel. Well, I can't be asked. I want to watch Millwall. That's it. But if I could go down to the den like you guys can on a Tuesday and Saturday, I would definitely live football over Sky Red Button any day. That's just my personal point there. Of course, for certain people, like what was his name, Ben, or who lives 3.5 hours away? Of course, I get it. Then Barry. Sorry. Then you, of course, you got to turn in because you don't want the 3.5 hour.
Yeah, but not when you're within. Not when you're
in the local area within. No, exactly. Yeah. So, as much as Ben says that it's going to kill football, I tend to slightly disagree, because I think people are just going to get fed up watching the telly all the time. You want to get down the den, you want to have the live experience.
It's the atmosphere.
It's the pint with your mates as well. So and I know it's the other thing is comfortable. If it's pissing down, and your team is doing shit and you're playing, I don't know. Then you stay at home. So I think there are more elements to it to just saying that it's going to kill football. In certain ways, maybe, but not completely. I think.
Excellent point again. Cheers for that, Jesper. And to come to yourself, Bex, as well. I mean, Bex, your good old lady. She travels from quite a far.
Yeah,
doesn't she?
So she comes up. Yeah, so she comes up from Seaford. So she does. Normally, it's about a 2.5 hour journey on a good day.
Wow.
So she's had days where it's taken like 3 hours to get there. So
there you go, Barry.
Mum,
see, Bazza. Take note, Bazza. Old Dorset boy. She hates to miss a game, and if she does put it on the red button, and then 9 times out of 10 she regrets that she hasn't driven up if she has missed it. But it is. I do get it. I do get why people might decide to stay at home and go, do you know what, I'll just stay, because it's easy. It is easy to just put it on. But again, then don't moan about. I get that, it is easy. But then, to your point, how could you then moan about, the atmosphere?
Then don't moan about the atmosphere after. If you're deciding to stay at home and then go, oh, well, on the TV, the atmosphere was really shit, then actually don't moan about it. Get your ass down the ground. Because if we haven't got the people there, we can't create the atmosphere. And you can't just rely on the people in the ground to create that atmosphere. I get it. We need the players to do their job, but then we're there to support them, so we also need to put the shift in as well. We can't just be like, well, they ain't doing it, so we're not going to do it. We need to all kind of come together and create it. And yes, we get a lot of tourists, but like we said, that actually they're putting revenue in. If they're spending 100 quid, let them spend 100 quid every time that they come over. If they're coming in like 10s, 20s, they're putting a lot of money in. I'm going down the ground and I'm buying myself a couple of drinks. I'm not spending 100 quid. I'm not. So let them put the money in and let them come over, because that money is allowing us to actually develop the club and get bigger. I've got some friends in Holland, and I've known them since the FA Cup semi-final. That's where we met them, and we've kept in touch with them since. They come over, and when they come over, they spend big. And just because they're from abroad, it doesn't mean that they don't love the club any more than what we do. Sometimes actually I think that they love it more than people that I know. So the reality is just let them. If somebody wants to support Millwall, let them. I'll take any fan that we can get, to be fair.
Exactly. I mean, I don't want to embarrass you here, Jesper, but you've got Jesper there above you, and like, he's from Denmark, and I tell you what, he'll know more. If you could pull up a lot of 100 Millwall fans, he'll probably know more than 95 of them about Millwall's history, about what they're about, what they're doing, and as he said it, if he was living over here, he'll be there home and away. Every game, 100%. And sometimes people forget about that as well, and when you do come over, Jesper, you spend a lot of money in the executive lounge when you come over last time for your birthday.
I did that once. That was for my birthday. I don't usually sit up there, I have to say. I do.
No, that's a one-off, isn't it?
Yeah,
exactly.
It was a one-off.
But the point I'm making is, you spend money, and there's lots of other fans who are not necessarily Millwall fans, but they'll still come over, as you say, Bex, to spend 100, 200 quid, would be on shirts, beers, and whatnot. So I guess
it's a day out for them.
It's a day out for him, exactly. You know, and like I said,
It's
the
no
point of it
different
is,
to us going over and being going abroad,
100%.
going over to Spain, watching Barcelona and Real
I
Madrid.
did
We're
this
going in,
year.
we're spending the money.
Exactly. I went over to this year. I went to Milan to San Siro as my bucket list, and I wanted to do that for my 50th. And I'll tell you what, like, I was so disappointed. I went there, the atmosphere was crap. A lot of fans. I'm wondering, is it because we're all tourists? I'm one of the tourists. I'm sure there'll be other tourists as well. Yeah, it was shocking. And then I went with my mates to watch Real Betis, and it was incredible. The atmosphere was fantastic, but a lot of that was made up of supporters, and the atmosphere is completely different. But the point I'm making is, you know what? Feel the den. Like if you can't be asked to get there, on a midweek game, that's on you. But then don't complain and moan about tourism. Don't complain about lack of atmosphere, because at the end of the day, you got to turn up there. And I think it was Robbo that said it earlier. One of his comments there. There's no substitute for not being there. You really. It's no point you screaming at the TV screen and shouting and all the rest. They can't fucking hear you, can they? Do you know what I mean? Like, get down to the den. Let off a little bit of your endorphins, whatever. And have fun and enjoy it,
Can I just say as well that the atmosphere yesterday was, for a midweek game, I did think it was pretty decent. It was one of the best that I've heard in a long time. And you did come away feeling actually, that's been a really good night. Yes, the performance was there, but actually everyone went out with that buzz because you could really feel that they enjoyed it, and I think the atmosphere had something to do with that. Not going to lie as well, I don't know if the light show at the end gave a little bit of an extra specialness at the end. I thought I went for the light show. It always meets something yesterday.
When the old light show goes off, it kind of meets with a little bit of a woo and a bit of like a bit of groan. You got a mixture, and some going like.
I felt last night though, everyone was like a bit like yes,
yeah, the light show. Exactly. Then you get the old piano, the old status quo comes in, doesn't it?
But Joe, can I just read this that Andy Herbert posted around 9:15? He said, "It's up to each individual. You want a better atmosphere, get off your ass and start singing and shouting." And I couldn't agree more, because you can't just point at everyone and say, "Oh, the atmosphere shit." What are you doing? What are you contributing with?
I want to try and find that comment there. Sorry, is this one here?
Around 9:30. Yeah, exactly. And I think it's spot on. I one day I just accidentally watched Sevilla play Barcelona, and I know it's a big game for the people in Seville, because notoriously they don't like Barcelona, Real Madrid. But you could just see everyone was, they were at it. Everyone was singing. It was the little kid who was 7 years old. It was the grandma who was 80. Everyone was at it, because they were desperate to win that game. And it's just, again, it's up to you. What do you bring to the table? And I know, as Neil Harris said, that there needs to be a link between the terraces and the players. Of course, there has to be, because again, if we're playing shit game after game, the atmosphere is going to be flat. But we're not, so we need to do our part as well, because I think the players are, definitely
very true. And also there's this argument, isn't it, between like who ignites it? Should it be the fans to get the players going, or should the players then get the fans going? Is it the chicken or the egg sort of thing, isn't it, a little bit? And where does it stand? In my opinion, I think the players got to give you something. Whether it be a crunching tackle or a disease sort of drive and cross, or a bit of trickery or something. You need something that's going to get you going. I think the worst time for me watching Millwall in a very long time was probably during the Gary Rowett era. I don't know if you agree, Bex, because the other two probably haven't seen as many games at home during Gary Rowett, but there was times there where we were turning up. It was a 0-0 ball every game at home, and it's just lack of interest.
It was hard.
It was painful. And as Jesper says, football's an entertainment game, and you're paid to watch, be entertained. I wasn't getting entertained. No. I was more at a point thinking, I don't think I'm going to renew my season ticket next season, because I was just getting that bored. And I've got an hour and a half commute to get there from Surrey. So I know exactly what that feels like. So what
I think,
it
is true. You do. You find it. I found myself sitting there, me and Mum just having a good old chat, going, oh, and then that happened. Because you lose the interest to some extent, and because it is just.
You do.
I think even Danny Baker posted after we lost 2-0 to QPR with Gary Rowett in charge that it was the worst game he had ever seen at the Den, and he's been going since late 60s or something.
Second World War.
That's how poor it was.
Yeah. Unbelievable. Right, guys, we're coming towards 90 minutes, so this means we are going to talk about Leicester. Very, very loose things. We want to sort of talk about the teams we think we're going to go for, who we're going to pick. And also we're going to go for our guess of the score as well. So I don't know who wants to start me off first, but give us your starting 11, and your predicted score line for Saturday. And again, in the chat, put in your chat as well. Jesper, do you want to start off first?
Well, I can give it a go at least. I don't think we'll see too many changes. I think Billy will be back in the squad. I don't know whether he's going to start.
Will he start, do you think? Or if he does start, who will he start?
I was just going to say, I don't know if he's going to start, though, but you might need some fresh legs in there after, Tuesday. We don't have a midweek game next week, so that does help us a little bit in terms of selection that we can put out.
That's true. Yeah,
probably the strongest who's performing now. I think my heart tells me we're going to win 1-0. Unfortunately, I always have Ben's law of average in my head. So okay, we won 3 now. Now it's time for a draw or a loss. And I think it's the effect of being a Millwall fan for 25 years.
You get carried away.
You don't want to get carried away and disappointed. I just think we're on a good run, and Leicester is a decent side, but they haven't had the best start, and they don't look unbeatable. I don't think there's any team in this league who looks unbeatable. Like last season, you had your Burnleys, your Leeds, and they were very, very good. So I think we could win. I think, I'm going to go for 1-0, and I think Mihailo Ivanovic is going to get his first goal at the end this season.
Well, I'll take that. Any formal win against Leicester, I'll go for that. Cheers for that, Jesper. And then over to yourself, Bex. Before you do that, Big E just said that, Joe, for next international break, is it the players' dads' bods round table time? Can you imagine that? Getting a dads around the table. I might have to speak to the club and see if we could try and do that, get permission to do that. That would be interesting. It'd be a bit of a laugh, wouldn't it? Bex, what's your sort of lineup prediction?
I think it's going to be quite similar. I think in terms of the game. I think depending on what Billy's been out with his illness, depending whether or not he will start. But I think if it was just like a bit of a like under the radar, a bit of a cold, just a bit of a cold. I think he will come in replacement of Casper. To be honest with you, I think.
Yeah.
Just so that Casper can rest his legs a little bit, because he did put that shift in, and then we'll see Casper a bit further on in the game. Score-wise, I'm feeling a bit hopeful, maybe 2-1. I was just looking up on Leicester earlier in the day today, just to see what they've been kind of up to.
Doing your research, I like that.
My research, and so last night was their first defeat in like 9 or something. It was saying, and the manager, the manager's also been. He's been testing out a bit like we've been doing. He's been testing out a few players, and last night completely went tits up, basically, by the sounds of it.
Right.
They've got a couple of players though that I think are going to need to kind of watch out for, and they will give a bit of a run. But I think the defence will probably kind of, if they put the shift in they did last night, I think that they're going to be quite good on it and quite hot. But I just think because they have been quite a strong side, does give me a little bit of nerve. And I did originally say, I think last week, I don't know if Ben remembers, I think I did say that I think we would lose on Saturday against Leicester. I think that was my one that I was kind of like, I think that's going to be our bit of a loss. But I think after seeing us our last 2 games,
you're a bit more confident now, yeah?
I'm a bit more confident, and actually I think that if we go out, I think we could do a bit of a 2-1. 2-1 win. Yeah. I don't know score-wise, or not score-wise, but goal-wise. Goals. Oh, I don't know. I think maybe Mihailo, like Jesper said, might have his first goal, and Femi again.
Who's that? Sorry,
Femi.
4 and 4.
I think he's. I'm going to give him the benefit of doubt. I think he might. I think he's on a bit of a run, but I think it's really hard to say. To be honest with you, you just never know. Like what Kramer scored last night, so didn't expect that one.
Excellent, guys. In the chat, get your score predictions for Saturday. Ben, what's your prediction for any changes in the lineup, and also your score prediction for Saturday?
Yeah, I'm with everyone else. I think if Billy's fit, I think he'll come back in. I think that's the main change. Obviously, we're going to have a false change with Smallbone. I'm actually now coming around to the idea. I'd imagine we'll probably see Cundle in there. We'll probably won't be playing RBW. We're probably not going to be playing Negby, so it's probably going to be Cundle in the 10. So that would be the changes, and I'm going to go 1-1.
1-1.
I can't see us getting beat. Leicester are just a good side. I'll go 1-1.
I was hoping the last show we called it 2 on the spin, and then Chris called me up this morning. He goes, "What are we going to call tonight's show, Joe?" I was trying to be really, really imaginative and creative. I thought, let's call it 3 on the spin. He's like, yeah, I like that. So next we're going to call it 4 on the spin. Let's see how long we keep this going.
I hope it is.
I hope it is. I hope as well. But it's interesting because Alex mentioned here as well. Leicester last 6 games, 1-1, drawn 4, lost 1. So they're a bit of the draw merchants at the moment, Leicester. So whether or not that says anything for Saturday, I don't know. It could possibly. Who knows? You know. But let's hope we can get another win. But look, that's pretty much it, guys. Thank you to all our listeners that are with us this evening. Thank you to you guys, my co-hosts, for your words of wisdom and all your knowledge and reviews from yesterday's game. Anything you want to say before we wrap up? Start with yourself, Jesper. Please don't say no.
I always
Normally
do
Jesper's
that.
too honest. Anything you want to say, Jesper? Not really.
Yes, I do. It's a great time. It's a great time to be a Millwall fan. It's always
give us some positivity. Go on.
It's always fun being part of a winning side, isn't it? You know, it feels good. But not getting carried away. It's still early doors. You know, nothing is won in October. So
of course,
I just say onwards and upwards. You know, let's hope that we can sort of stay fit. And I think we've got plenty of good games to come. And let's see where it takes us.
Yeah.
Very excited about Saturday. It looks like it could be a sellout or very close to. So again, bumps and seats, you know, means a lot. So bring the atmosphere, and we're going to give them a good game. That's for sure.
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. Cheers for that, Jesper. And before we go to yourself, Beck, just have a quick look at the this is the league table earlier. So don't know if it's changed. I heard comments in the chat saying we're 4th, and we're 3rd again, and 4th. So that's where we were as of last night, which looks really, really nice, doesn't it? You know, and sitting in 3rd place there, just 5 points behind Coventry in the league. But you know, I don't know how Middlesbrough are doing at the moment, but we're not too far behind them either. So Bex, anything you want to say before we say goodbye to our lovely listeners?
Well, do you know what? I'm just looking forward to continue on feeling a little bit dizzy sitting up there. It's quite nice seeing that.
Yeah,
quite a nice
exactly.
little view. But yeah, like as Jesper said, bring the atmosphere and just, I don't know, I'm just excited for the rest of the season. So hopefully everyone else is. So that's it really. Thanks again for having me.
Yeah, you're welcome.
You want me to do like a like, subscribe and donate?
Well, I thought you might do a bit of a strobe light for us at the end, like we did yesterday off the ground, off the game. You know, start singing a bit of status quo for us, Bex.
Oh God, cheers you don't want to hear that.
No, maybe not. Maybe not. Might lose a few listeners. Cheers for that, Bex. Thanks for coming on as well. And yourself, Ben, anything you want to say before we say goodbye to our listeners?
Yeah, an obvious one, like 100 points, 100 goals.
Hey, back in the game. Love it. Nice one. So look, guys, thank you so much. Thank you so much for our listeners. Really do appreciate it. Cheers, Barry. Thanks for all live. Thanks to all the guys. Cheers for that. Really do appreciate it. Look, enjoy the rest of your week. Not long now till Saturday. You know, we're in the middle part of the week. It's all downhill from now. We've got something to look forward to as well. So look, enjoy the rest of your week. Work hard. Get down the Den on Saturday. If you ain't got your ticket, get down the Den. If you've got a season ticket, make sure you get down there. Don't watch it on the box. Make sure you subscribe and like the channel as well. Again, please, thank you for all your help, all the donations, and we'll see you on the next live show. Thanks very much, guys. See ya.
Hi, it's Steve Morrison here, and you're listening to Chat with Chaps, chatting Millwall, come rain or shine.